Welcome back. So now we're going to start looking at some more descriptive statistic measures working toward more chapters in the story. One of the more popular ways to analyze data that you'll see more and more in even the most basic reports is something called a box plot. Let's start with the components of a box plot and then we'll work up to some more sophisticated analysis. And the starting point is the 5-number summary. What the 5-number summary does is actually divide your data set into 4 pieces. Think about a cake. I'm hungry already. And cutting it in half. And then cutting each of those halves in halves, which gives you 4 quarters. And that's part of the 5-number summary. But you start the 5-number summary by calculating the minimum. Oh, and nobody caught me. I forgot to save this. I'm going to save this data set as version 7. Thank you for reminding me. Now, I didn't name price like I did before for a couple of reasons. First, I'm going to calculate the minimum value, and I'll go back to my B2 to B40 convention. So the minimum price is 118,000. This time, I'm not going to use the decimals just for clarity. The next number I'm going to calculate is quartile 1. Quartile 1, or Q1, calculates the value in which 25% of the other values fall below. So let's calculate it first. And there's a quartile function. Try that again. I want the quartile between B2 to B40. And then after the B40, I need a comma 1 to indicate that I want the quartile for the lower part, the lower 25%. And that's 163,000. Calculate the median again. Never hurts to have a little practice. And so the median, 187,000, and these numbers should go in order or you've made a mistake. I'm not putting the formulas in column C because I want to keep that open. But you could always do it, and none of these functions are too difficult. Now, for quartile 3, it's pretty much the same function. It's quartile, parenthesis B2 to B40, comma 3 this time. So that tells us the third quartile. So what that means, and we'll spend some more time on this in another video, is that there are 25%, or about 9 or 10 houses, are priced above 231,000. And of course, the maximum value. And the maximum value is a max function. Min and max functions are very, very helpful. And the maximum price of the house in the data set is 416,000. Now there we've got the components of the range and a really nice 5-number summary. There's another value that goes along with this, and that's called the interquartile range. The interquartile range is kind of like the range, except it defines the distance or the amount of money that separates third quartile and the first quartile. You simply click Q3 and subtract Q1. Coincidentally, it's equal to the amount of the standard deviation, but what that shows you is the middle 50% of the values of the house prices only have a $67,000 range. So sometimes, if you're not interested in the high end or the low end, you can really narrow the definition of your data set to the middle 50%. Let me save this. Now, what I can do here is I'm going to highlight all those calculations I just made, and I left them at B2 to B40. Take a little bit different look at this. I'm going to drag, actually I'll do it the long way. I will copy, and then I'll paste it into the cell to the right for bedrooms. And here, it gave us the 5-number summary for bedrooms, except for the fact that it's in dollars. So I might want to adjust that by formatting the cell to be general. Let's let Excel decide what it looks like. So I've got now a 5-number summary for bedrooms, which isn't highly insightful. Notice the cell is highlighted. If yours is not highlighted, highlight the cell range for bedrooms. Because then what I'm going to do, if you haven't discovered this tool, it's good and bad. It's a real time saver. If I highlight the bottom right and I drag copy all the way down to, we'll even do garage, I've now quickly calculated the 5-number summary for all of the different data variables. The two probably that make the most sense would be the square feet, and I'm going to format that to be a number with no decimals, just for clarity. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to add one thing to that. I'm going to go back and format that again. This time I'm going to use the comma separator for the thousands, which in this case makes the data look a lot neater and readable. Again, here, for the lot size, I'll go back and format those cells for a number, and 2 decimal places is fine, because that is more what it looks like. Now, there's our 5-number summary for lots of different things. I'll review this in another video, but I'm going to go back as a final step here and highlight the price column. And I'm going to insert a statistical chart. I'm going to insert what they call a box and whisker chart. You can see it there. Say OK. May have to slide up to see the full chart. And we'll take another look at this in another video. But this basically graphically shows the 5-number summary for price. The min is here. The first quartile is here. The median is that middle line, if you can see it, in between the quartiles. There's a little X that tells you where the mean is. That may not be evident on all versions, and this feature may not be available on all versions. Here's quartile 3. Here's where the end of the box is indicated by Excel, where they do a calculation for that. And then it shows 2 expensive houses that fall beyond that. And those could be potential outliers. We'll talk about outliers in another video. But here's an example, if you have the feature, of how to create a box plot. And we'll look at more box plots shortly in the next video. Thank you.